Alright, night sleeping. Halloween's right around the corner, and the Chainsaw Man movie comes out in America October 24th. And then, unfortunately, it's followed by the dreaded No Nut November. So before that happens, we must goon to the devil!
Hey yo, what the?
Wait, no, not that devil. The female devils in Chainsaw Man. Because, you know, a lot of them are bad. Hey, okay, you get it. She's hot. Shut up. Quiet! Also made this video to answer the question, are any of the female devils in Chainsaw Man worth it? And this question came to my mind because honestly, a lot of them suck. And not just power-wise, character-wise too. Fujimoto, the author of Chainsaw Man, did a good job making these characters seem more monsters in their personalities rather than their looks and powers. Now, a lot of them still have pretty scary powers though. If you know, you know. Now, for those of you who don't know, for instance, some of you that have never seen Chainsaw Man probably don't think that a character that looks like this is scary. Now, if you don't know and you think that, I must ask with the utmost sincerity, are you sure about that? Yeah, these women are called devils for a reason, and it's because they can all be very horrifying to the average man. Now, before I begin the list, you must first know what is a devil in Chainsaw Man. And to be honest, it's quite simple. In the Chainsaw Man series, devils are supernatural beings born from humanity's collective fears, acting as physical embodiments of specific concepts, fears, or even abstract ideas. Now, their powers and existence are directly tied to the strength of these fears. In other words, the more people who fear the concept, the more powerful its corresponding devil becomes. Devils in this series originate in hell and can be contracted by devil hunters, granting unique abilities or weapons in exchange for a price. And if a devil is killed in this series, it can be reincarnated into hell. And if it's sufficiently feared enough, it can be reborn with its full power. And also in this series, there are devils called Feeds. Now these devils are devils that possess dead human bodies. And upon possession of a human body, they usually keep their own personality, as seen with beings like Power. And there's also beings in this universe called devil hybrids. Now each devil hybrid was once a human who had their body fused with a devil, and this allows them to transform into a half human, half devil form, more or less like the main character Denji. And now that the boring part's out of the way, the first one on my list is Santa Claus. But no, this ain't your mama's Santa Claus, oh no. If this girl comes down your chimney, she's gonna turn you into a toy, or more or less a doll. Because this creature made a contract with the doll devil, she can now create dolls and perfect dolls, which then she spreads throughout the world. And it gets weirder, because this creature is connected to these dolls like a hive mind, or more or less all the dolls are controlled by one individual with the help of the doll devil. And just to make it more clear, no one knows what this chick really looks like. Hell, I don't even know if she's really a woman. The female form is presumed to be her real form, but that's questionable and doesn't really make anything about her any better. And if turning you into a doll isn't bad enough, the way she turns you into a doll is even worse. It doesn't even really seem to take much effort to turn the average man into a doll. All she has to do is touch you, and it spreads contagiously as each doll touches another person. And it gets worse! Besides all the other powers and contracts that I could mention, but I won't because this video is already long enough. But the one thing that I will mention is that the Darkness Devil, you know, this thing, gave Santa Claus a small piece of its flesh to ingest. And once she gulped that thing down, things got a little crazy. Now how crazy? This crazy! And it gets even worse because unfortunately, that's her in the daytime. At nighttime, she gets even scarier. Yeah, unless this one decides to make dolls of all the sexiest woman on earth, she's not worth it. If she do that though, you know, then we can have a conversation. You know, because I don't discriminate. I procreate. Haha, giggity. All right, next one up, Quanxi. She looks good, right? Gotta wonder what's under that eye patch though. I bet she has a beautiful eye. Hey, what the hell? Well, that was cool, but not what I expected to come out of her eye. This is probably a good time to tell you that she's the first devil hunter in the series, and also a hybrid who merged with the bow devil. Oh, and she's also a lesbian, and not just any kind of lesbian. She's a lesbian with weird taste. She has a harem of female feeds. You know, those devils that possess human corpses? Yeah, she does not like guys, so she'd probably turn most of us down. Now, would that stop me? Hell no! Matter of fact, I met the first lesbian I met a long time ago. I tried putting the moves on her, and she yelled at me talking about, I'm gay! And I was like, I'm sorry, but my strict man jeans don't give a f. Next thing you know, someone shot at me. Tragic! Now, besides Quanxi's hybrid abilities, she has enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and enhanced reflexes. Also, like many other hybrids, she has nigh immortality, and she has insane hand-to-hand combat skills. In fact, she's actually considered by Kishibe to be the best in the world. Plus, she has amazing swordsmanship abilities and archery skills. However, her problem falls more into her character rather than her actual powers. Because other than the fact that she's homosexual, Quanxi shows very little emotions, and she has a strong belief that ignorance is bliss. Now what does this mean? It means that she's selfish. She'd rather ignore all the problems around her and live in a happy delusion rather than a sad reality. And she won't really do anything about more powerful characters like Makima. And I'm not even saying that she could kill Makima because she more than likely couldn't, but at the very least, do something. Also, there was something weird that I noticed about her character in the Buddy series. In the Chainsaw Man Buddy series is just a light novel of Chainsaw Man, and it's questionable if it's canon or not, but I think it likely is canon because the creator of Chainsaw Man, Fujimoto, provided illustrations and artwork for this light novel. But the text was written by another author named Sakuku Hishikawa. Either way, in this story, Quanxi has a questionable moment with a female co-worker named Minami. Now just so you know, Minami was being trained by Quanxi at this time, and one night Quanxi decided to take Minami to a bar, at which time Kishibe followed. And he followed, one, because they had a love triangle thing going on, and he was concerned for Minami's well-being. And I honestly think he had a good reason to be, because remember, Quanxi is a lesbian, and at this bar, Minami got drunk. And when Minami got drunk, her and Quanxi then went to a hotel with Kishibe following them. And I have to mention, Quanxi was telling Kishibe the whole time that he should leave. But Kishibe knows Quanxi better than most characters in this series, which makes me think also that Quanxi is up to no good. And eventually later in the story, Quanxi attempted to go into a shower with an ill Minami, in which in that time, Kishibe stopped her. Now, what I'm trying to say is, I think Quanxi is a different type of devil, if you know what I mean. Her powers are cool, and I think she's a powerful character, but I think honestly, she's an awful human being. Kishibe knew her for years at this point, and if he thought that she was up to something, I think it's very safe to say for the reader that she was. But it's up for debate because nothing really happened because he stopped it. And either way, a lesbian could technically still smash Quanxi. But in all honesty, is she worth it? I think the average man and woman would say, hell no. She's too sus, she's selfish, and she operates like a killer machine. She was introduced first in the story of Chainsaw Man as an assassin, hired by the Chinese government to hunt and kill Denji. Now I have to admit she does seem to care about her feeds, but that's it. I've seen people like Quanxi before. She's like a soldier with no soul. And honestly, if you try to date / try to smash Quanxi, you'd more than likely end up how her feeds ended up. You know, spoiler alert, they're dead. Tragic. Tragic! Alright, next one up is Reze, the bomb girl. She's a hybrid and she's called the bomb girl because her powers make things go boom. Now honestly, I would say that she's just as manipulative and just as bad as Makima. But she did eventually change throughout her story. Let me cook. Reze is not just a hybrid, but she's a hybrid from the Soviet Union who was sent to Japan with the mission of stealing Chainsaw Man's heart. And she kind of succeeded in this one way or another. And this is very likely because Denji is a simp and very sexually motivated. But anyway, when she was first introduced in the story, she appears to be kind and gentle, and she even seems to have a crush on Denji as soon as she meets him. Yeah, all that's a lie because she was trained to do that. Her first couple of interactions with Denji was just a ruse. Even her facial reactions like blushing was something that she was trained to do in order to get closer to her target. Now towards the end of her story, she does change her ways and try to run away with Denji. But I have to say, she did try to kill him first, you know, by way of... Yeah, I don't know how the hell he forgave her for that. Even if an explosion doesn't hit you, it's still scary. And they usually happen in battle with the intent to kill a lot of people. I also have to admit that Reze is technically a terrorist. So yeah, not the best one to be trying to run away with. She also at one point in the story kissed Denji and bit off his tongue. And apparently one of the reasons she did this was because he just rejected her proposal to run away together. So yeah, don't reject this girl or she'll bite off your tongue and try to kill you. And I mean, I looked up how long they knew each other by this point, and apparently they only knew each other for a few weeks to a month. What did she expect him to say? Well, then again, it is Denji. She probably expected him to bark. Shut up! Alright, the next one up is power! Now, there are a lot of things you can say about power. Where do we even start with this one? You know what, I'll just be honest. Yeah, this bitch nasty. I've seen the anime and I read most chapters of the manga, and I even looked at her profile online. My brother and sisters, I've never seen the character's personality profile say mostly negative things about that character. Seriously, out of all the women on this list, out of all the devils on this list, her cons are through the roof. And it's even compared to the Santa Claus devil. This woman's not only described as childish, but she's also described as greedy and almost entirely self-motivated. And she only really fights if she has something to gain and she is certain of her victory, and has no problems running away from a fight. She's boastful because of her status as a feed, which also means yes, this is not how she actually looks. Her devil form apparently looks like this. Now apparently one good thing is, the rumors of her being racist on the internet is not entirely true. she doesn't just hate one race, she hates all races. And this is due to her innate devil's nature. It's basically a hatred that comes from instinct. So she doesn't hate you because of your skin color, she hates you because she feels that you're inferior to power! I mean, I assume she named herself, so the ego in this chick is insane. Oh, and by the way, she doesn't seem to have much loyalty to humans or devils, because she honestly admitted with her whole chest that she would happily join any side who's winning. So yeah, she's a scumbag. She also has a superiority complex, and she's a compulsive, habitual liar. This woman will know that she's lying, and she'll still lie! To your face! Several times! I've seen her do this in the anime! When we're talking about her IQ is over 1,000, I want to smack the chopsticks out of her hand in this moment, because she's not only a liar, she's dumb as bricks! Well, she's not dumb as bricks, but she ain't intelligent. Also, she's described as rude and unkept. This woman doesn't wash her cheeks, she probably ain't washed her poon poon in days, and them tiggies ain't biggies, they fake! Fake viewer! Fake! Plus, she rarely bathes or ever flushes the toilet. Honestly, as far as I've seen in the manga and the anime, Power's whole personality and hygiene can be compared to that of a street cat.
Nasty bitch.
And I'm honestly pretty sure if I search more, I can find some more cons. But let's try to talk about some of her more positive features. Her powers are cool, she has blood powers, and she likes cats. And she's kind of cute for a devil possessing a dead human corpse. Also, she does change a little bit by the end of her story. In fact, she develops an extreme loyalty to Denji, even going so far as to call Denji her very first friend. Yeah, her pros don't really make her cons any better. See, this is what I mean when I say Fujimoto made their personalities, or the devil's personalities, more devilish, or more or less more inhuman, than their actual powers. Because why? Why would she not shower? Nothing in the Santa Claus's devil profile says she don't shower. So you're telling me that the demonic looking doll woman showers, but the cat girl don't? When you really think about it, that's just pathetic. And sad. Ugh, tragic. Alright, last one for this video, Makima. Now Makima is the control devil, which means she embodies the concept of control. She's also one of the 4 horsemen of the series, and the 4 horsemen of the series are just powerful, influential devils, whom also are apparently sisters. Now, Makima, in my eyes at least, is the type of woman that most young men would fall for. And yes, it's obviously because she's hot. And there are a lot of frames in the manga where she do got that GAT! But unfortunately, this GAT is a trap! It's Makima is manipulative and calculating, and she sees people as nothing more than dolls that she can use as much as she likes. And she controls characters like Denji through promises of romantic and sexual relationships, while also threatening him with outright extermination if he disobeys her. She's ruthless, normally dispassionate, and she will do whatever it takes to achieve her goals, even at the cost of the people that she should be protecting. She is basically the embodiment of the manipulative woman, or more or less a Jezebel, or like Chris Tucker said in that one Rush Hour movie.
But you one crazy ass bitch!
And her control powers only make her that much worse. Listen to this. Because she's a control devil, she has the power to control those that she sees as lesser rank than herself. In other words, if she sees herself as superior to you, which in her case would probably be most people, she can then control you. That one power by itself is scary, because it doesn't really even seem to depend on you, it more or less depends on her mentality of you compared to her at the time. Mentalities can change people, and to make it worse, this brainwashing ability seems to work on anything, including animals. And she doesn't seem to have a limit to the number of people she can control at once. And I'm not done. Makima can summon the powers of her victims by summoning them through chains connected to her body. My brothers and sisters, she can take her victims' powers. Where's it in? Where's it in? Why does this one character need this much power? And yes, she has more powers, by the way. But this one power by itself makes her more OP than most of the characters already in the show. Like, what are you gonna do to her if she literally thinks that you're inferior to her? The answer is nothing. There's nothing you could do. You would have to be a goated character like Gojo from JJK in order for her to see you as someone who is at least her equal. So long story short, Makima is very pretty, but that beauty and those cheeks are pure. But honestly, I know some of you will still simp. I've already seen how some have been acting in theaters. And honestly, understandable. Now viewers, there are other female devils that I could talk about, but they show up later in the manga and in other chapters. And I don't want to spoil anyone just yet. Yes, I know I already spoiled a little bit too much already. That's why I want to wait till a part 2 at least to talk about the others. And I know I could have talked more about Quanxi's girlfriends, but I mean, come on. One of them has a brain sticking out of their head and a loose eye. And they're all gay and they possess dead human corpses. They ain't worth it, brother. Oh, and there's also the leech devil. Ew! You know what? She ugly as hell. But the bat devil is her ex-boyfriend, so she's not gay like Quanxi. She's not as scary as Santa Claus or Makima, and she probably smells better than Power. So maybe, just maybe, the Bat Devil was on something. That's it! It's them lips. She got them sucking lips. Oh me, oh me, oh me, oh my. Hey! Girl, how you doing?